People have that FOMO, right? Oh, this is popular. It's only $20. They don't understand. This is a Souls Metroidvania. This is meant to be crazy difficult.
Non-apologetic nonsense.
Man, Team Cherry is making a statement with Silksong. For anyone who doesn't know, it's the sequel to Hollow Knight. It's been in development for about 7 years. We kept getting told it's coming out this year, it's coming out that year, and it finally released, and everyone's surprised it released at a $20 price point. Now, if you play Metroidvanias, you know they're typically a cheaper game, right? But it's not out of the ordinary for a huge Metroidvania like Silksong to be $40. This is a direct pushback to what we see going on in the industry, right? We're seeing games going higher and higher from 50 to 60 to 70, and now Nintendo with their nonsense, $90 a new game. But with all of this demand, all of this hype over these years, they winded up selling almost 1 million copies their first day. So if you look just at the Steam statistics, right, over 500,000 sold the first day, peak concurrent player base of 560,000 in the first 24 hours alone. And they had all the stores crash, right, which I had a different experience with it, but from what everyone says, Steam store went down, PlayStation store went down, and Switch, Nintendo store went down. I think this was almost deliberate because there was no pre-order option, right? And it did not come out at midnight on the drop day. It just didn't. About noon my time or so, and I looked at drop time for PS5. And it did say the drop time was like 1 or 2 p.m. my time. I think the store was crashed, and this would have been a smart move if they deliberately did it because they waited till that mid-late afternoon to put it out, at least on PlayStation, so people would go check, and it would just flood the scene, right? So you got to think, if they winded up crossing that 1 million units sold the second day, if that crash wouldn't have happened, they would have hit it that very first day. Now for me, when I went to get it, I saw it still wasn't live on PlayStation. I went to Nintendo and it was live there. I grabbed it there because for me, the Switch, it's just a Metroidvania player for me. It's no secret. Even the Switch 2, it's way outdated hardware. The Switch 1 was already outdated chips. It's just nonsense. But for a Metroidvania player, it's perfect. Anything beyond that, I don't know. I remember I bought a port of the original Dark Souls on Switch, and I was about to go on a plane, and I was like, all right, I'll replay through Dark Souls. This will make the plane ride, the airport, everything go by in a snap. It wouldn't even play. It was just stuttering issues, freezing, and then save file got corrupted. Just Nintendo nonsense, right? But I do feel the price of $20 is a statement to the industry, because you got to think the Team Cherry guys, it's a very small crew. I can't remember if it's 3 people or 6 people, but it's very tight knit. So even at $20, I would imagine they're making more per unit sold than, of course, your Ubisofts or whoever, the big guys who are charging $70 a game because, they might have a staff, for like an Assassin's Creed of like 200 people. Whereas these people kept it small, they took their time, they built demand, which is a risky play because taking all that time could also do the opposite. It could make it to where people don't care. But I really love what they're trying to do because they could have made so much more money at 40. They made the decision to stay at 20 with our current environment in gaming, which is just full of corporate entities and greed. Can we talk about all these whiny, pissy pants players, right? Because see, all of this vocal minority of complaints about difficulty have already forced Team Cherry's hand, which is the only thing they've done so far I don't agree with, to do a patch to make the early mid-game easier, things you're buying cheaper, damage be less. So something that would hit you, do 2 increments of damage, would only do 1 now post-patch. And I hate that because you got to think, like I say, the people commenting are the vocal minority, right? The people who are the loudest, it's typically the smallest faction because it takes a certain type of person to go and leave a negative review, right? It's very Karen behavior. I've never left a review for anything in my life. To go and do that, it takes a certain type of person, and once you know it, it follows in line with the same type of people who just complain about everything. But I think a lot of people went there following the hype because they were able to play those games with the price, the crashing of the store, and that made headlines, which of course caused more sales. Smart move by Team Cherry. But people have that FOMO, right? Oh, this is popular. It's only $20. I ought to get it. They don't understand. This is a Souls Metroidvania. This is meant to be crazy difficult. I remember the first time I played Hollow Knight, right? I didn't understand the game. I didn't understand how to find the maps or the map guy. And I was just wandering around aimlessly until I got annoyed. And I laid it down and I didn't come back for maybe a year. But at that point, I kind of understood what I was getting into. And I loved every minute of it. You can really tell when it's a good game if grinding the bosses out is fun for you. Right? Because there's some games, even certain Souls games, where it's just exhausting, right? So far, I've really liked it. I'm stuck at a boss right now. I can't remember his name. It's something Beast. But he flutters around, horizontal and vertical, and then he summons in other enemies. It's in this hidden enemy that hidden area you gotta pogo your way to. But everybody bitched and moaned that it was too difficult. Formed a patch. What I would have liked to see is to wait on the patches, right? So the people who want to play it in its rawest form can do so, and then you can apply a patch, a little bit down the road, but it seems like they were pressured into doing so. It seems like the same thing happened with Elden Ring. And that kind of goes back to my point. Elden Ring was a big phenomenon outside of the Souls gamer dudes. So people didn't know what they were getting into. So they would start the game, they'd go to that guy on the golden horse, right? And think they have to fight him, bang their head against the wall for 4 hours and quit. If you looked at the trophies on the game, most players never even got to the first boss. I do kind of wish the patches would have been held for a later date. Because like I say, that's the vocal minority. It's the same with anything. People, you'll see headlines, people are outraged. Nah, 1,800 people are outraged on Twitter and they're being little whiny bitches. So it seems like it's bigger than what it is. And it's crazy what Hollow Knight has been able to do. For example, Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta, whatever, the remake, came out just a few weeks ago. And I was like, man, I'm going to love this. This is going to be my game of the year. But I've already had more fun with Silksong. And I think I'm 20 hours into Silksong. So I believe I already have more playtime as well. And I looked forward to Metal Gear for years. I can remember it was Metal Gear 3. That game came out when we were kids. So I think it was PS2. It might have been PS3, PS2, but we had you had the memory cards at that point that you could take out. You better watch out. Everybody stole people's memory cards, but it was 3 of us. It was me and 2 of my buddies, and we would only play it when we were together, right? So we all had PlayStations. We could do it in anybody's house. We just, take the memory card from unit to unit. So we would play about twice a week, but I remember we kept coming. We stored at this guy's house in Webb City, Missouri, and we started noticing wait, this isn't where we were at. We were at a boss. So this guy had been playing the game the entire time while we weren't there, and we had never played it, so we didn't realize it. By the time we realized it, I remember the memory card was mine, and I was like, all right, I'm taking this. So me and the other dude just went and started the game on our own again and played through the whole thing. But yeah, the guy got so super pissed. It was a funny situation. So you would think, at least with that nostalgia pulling at me, that would be game of the year. But I think Silksong's just absolutely taking it. This is a great game. But I just love that they are just shaking up the industry with not charging. Because like I say, they could have got away with 40, maybe 50. People would have been mad. But, even in my business, I believe sell it for less, sell more of it. And it seems they're following that train of thought, especially when the whole industry is signaling a hike. We've all heard the rumors about GTA 6, right? It's going to be 150. It's going to be 200. And the justification is always the same, right? You're going to be able to play it for 10 years, but your average player doesn't play it for 10 years. right? I mean, there are the weird online boys, like I don't participate in that. God bless you. I'm going to play through the story and then I'm going to put the game away and maybe play through the story again 5 years later, So I doubt they do this. I do wish there were 2 tiers, right? Like you could buy just without the GTA Online for, $60, $70, even if they wanted to maybe charge $80. And then if you wanted to have your 10 years of experience, there's a fly in here. You could pay an extra, $100 for the GTA Online experience. I wish they would do something like that because as much as I want to play GTA 6, I just really can't see it because they're going to pull a Nintendo, right, and hold whatever costs they start at for years, which in itself is kind of douchey because Nintendo's the only other company who does that, right? First party Nintendo game will be brand new price. Right now, you can go on the Nintendo store and first party Nintendo games that came out on like the Wii U, like your Zelda, your Breath of the Wilds, whatever. They're still going to be full new game price right now. So the fact that Team Cherry put a middle finger up to the industry and they were an indie who did it, I love it. I can't sing their praises enough. This game is great. I can't wait to see what they do next.